welcome to Hope for Survival YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate your time to come check out this video. I will try to talk a little bit faster than the last video. Miss Lucy told me that she had to speed it up because I was talking so slow because I was tired. That's partially true. Part of it is because of certain circumstances and this platform. I have to be careful and pick and choose my words carefully and still try to get the point across. So I will tell you now as a warning, this video may make a few folks mad, and that's okay. And I believe we are at, and maybe we have passed the time of maybe not just simply being direct. And I've tried to be a watchman on the wall to pass truth to you as I have decided for each point in the past that it was time to talk about that point. Anything that I say with any emphasis is it's not personal. It's strictly out of concern and care for the listener. You'll have to decide how it fits in your craw. Okay? So I want to ask you, I want you to tell me what is getting better looking around you day to day. What, if anything, what is getting better? Okay? Whether that's on a local, national, or global level. Negative news becomes normal over time to the point we accept it as today's normal. We come to get used to negative news and light topics that it just becomes a part of the daily information that we take in and process. And as humans, we all take this information differently because it's just human nature. But you should know this is on purpose because it is part of the Agenda 2030 baseline goal. Okay? And if you haven't taken time to go read Agenda 2030, you will find that much of what is occurring nationally and globally falls into the Agenda 30 criteria, up to and including the exciting 15-minute city platform. More and more non-preparing people I seem to be coming in contact with who randomly are telling me in detail all the negatives that are going on around us. But then they stop when I ask them, what are you doing about it? There'll be a brief silence, and then I hear, there's nothing I can do. I will die before it all occurs. It's out of my control. I'm hoping it gets better. But yet they never tell me anything about their preparing their household, whether it's spiritually or Psychologically, they're not doing anything to prepare physically, and they're basically setting it back and just sucking it all in. And oftentimes it becomes a battle of information. I know more than you. I know these topics better than you. Um, I need. It makes me feel better when I can spend 15 minutes telling you all the things I heard on X platform or on X show. I've read it in great detail, uh, and it seems to make the individual feel better. Okay, and more power to them. But again, the question is, um, it's like it's kind of like you telling me there's 5 different local businesses that have sales on tires, but you're driving around with bald tires and you're doing nothing about it. Okay, you're riding out the risk, and you're not taking steps to fix that problem. But this is on a much bigger scale. Okay, I know through my lifetime, especially as an adult, I've always heard about the light on the hill, and the nation, the world, um, has followed, that being the United States. And the world will often, when there's crises and disasters, um, shifts in governments, oftentimes foreign governments sits back and they wait to see what direction the United States is going to take, and then they will either join in or not. Okay, and I'm here to tell you that has changed. The United States is no longer trusted globally, and many of our past acts and misgivings as a nation is coming back to haunt us. people no longer um, People no longer look at us as the bright light on the hill. They no longer look at us as the global leader. We are still large enough as a nation, and we still have large enough power, economics, and so forth that um, as the United States falls, many other third world nations will fall as well. Okay, but the past trust in our country is gone. If you look to our north and look to our south, we have communist nations in both locations, and we as well must question the ideology currently taking place in the United States. Okay, the Mexican government is a puppet to the drug cartels, much like Colombia was in the past with the FARC cartel. Cartels who runs the country with drugs, weapons, and human trafficking. It's interesting that the weapons used in crime and drug cartels from in Mexico, most of the weapons that are used come from the United States. And how does that happen? These weapons are passed to the Mexican government for use in law enforcement and the military. Um, and then they end up in the hands of cartels for ever what reason. Individuals turning, individuals being killed, and the cartels confiscating the weapons. Uh, there's numerous reasons, and now the last year or two, we're seeing cartel crime that's crossing into the United States. All right. Recently, campus riots are happening around the United States, and a statistic that came out in the last week is that 50% of those protesting or rioting are non-students. I recently had a conversation with someone and I asked the question, I wonder how many of the non-student protesters crossed our southern border in the last year. More U.S. businesses are filing for bankruptcy. These are jobs lost, meaning families are unable to feed their children. We look at companies filing for bankruptcy as another company bites the dust, but the reality is the employees are people just like us, and now their means to provide shelter and food and medical care and so forth is gone. These are more and more people who are without, adding to the several million who came into the country, um, who are going to be a product of the system and dependent on finding care and shelter through the only means they may be able to find. And this is why, again, the 5 mile radius and building communities is so important. Okay. If you've sat through the training class on the 5 mile radius, I talk about the factors that you use in building your 5 mile radius and through industry in your area, renters, homeowners, number of employees from inside your community, or if they're transiting from the outside. These numbers are not good. Okay. You may think you own your home, but you really don't, do you? If you read between the lines and read past the headlines and read the interior pages of the newspaper, or you do searches for the information, um, there's more and more people who are losing property to eminent domain. There's people who are losing their properties to squatters, where it takes a year to 2 years or more through the legal system to get your property back, at which point it's probably severely damaged. And worse is you still have to pay the mortgage or rent on that property while you cannot occupy it. So, again, do you really possess or own that property? Much of what you believe and base your personal life on is only on paper. Example, the Constitution. A rogue justice system does not back your constitutional rights any longer. We're seeing that more and more in passing days of individuals specifically. It could be you, it could be your next door neighbor or someone you know somewhere or in your community, where individuals are being detained or being detained with charges without proper due process and right to a speedy trial. We're seeing that more and more citizens are choosing to become more private and self-sustaining. And as we go forward with systems operating as they currently are, this is going to become harder and harder to do. Restrictions on property, restrictions on water, restrictions on power, restrictions on growing food, and so on and so forth. It's going to make it much, much difficult. You may have caught recently the two gentlemen in Pennsylvania that are being locked up without due process, without being charged, and they're being detained for 30 days. And we'll see what happens in the next couple weeks when their 30 days is up, if it will be extended or they'll be released. They were um, joint business owners in a business that offered services to farmers on caring for cattle. There's another case going on in Pennsylvania involving the Amish as well. You might want to tune in and follow these cases because you could be next. To some degree, the bottom line is just like after 9/11, people are easily giving up freedoms for security. We were willing to give up some of our rights and privacy in the Patriot Act because we believed that big government was going to implement programs to go after foreign entities that we believed wanted to hurt us as a nation and as people. And then a few years later, the FISA ruling, as an example, was reversed 180, and that's being used against American citizens. Something that you need to prepare for. A couple years ago here at Hope for Survival, we alerted you at least a year in advance to the coming increases in food supplies. They continue to get worse. You are likely going to see about a 30% increase, up to a 30% increase in your car and home insurance. Think about it. You've got a government that's spending in the last month almost $1 trillion, and we're barely able to pay the interest on our national debt. That rolls downhill, and insurance companies are now doing everything they can to get more money out of the working class tax paying people. They know that you have to have car insurance, especially if you have cars and homes with banknotes on them. Okay, so you need to ask yourself, with a up to a 30% increase, how's this then going to impact your life, especially if you're on a fixed income? It's going to be devastating to many people. Okay, you're also going to see a continued increase in property taxes. I know here in Tennessee, in the last month, we all received letters with property tax increases up to 100%. Everyone got really excited when, during the COVID era, people's property value in some cases doubled, and everyone was all happy that a $250,000 home was now worth $500,000. Well, the result in that is now reassessments of property and rates being determined to go up. You're going to continue seeing property taxes go up and up. Okay? Again, for those who are on fixed incomes or limited income, this is going to crush a lot of people and a lot of families. You wonder why rent goes up? Well, part of it is because property values are going up, and the owner of the apartments or condos, whatever it may be, they have to recoup that money some way. They're not going to pay for it out of pocket, just like store owners. They have their margins of profit for the year, and when it decreases, they raise the cost on consumable goods, whatever they're selling. And you, the consumer, takes it in the shorts. Another note that I wanted to point out, you may have heard this, I've talked about it in the past, but it seems assured that any day now that Saudi is going to join the BRICS. I understand the UAE just joined BRICS as well. But at the moment, Saudi joins into the BRICS. My understanding is there's over 100 nations now that have applied for BRICS. But when Saudi does it, because of the deal made in the early 70s with the petrodollar, um, most likely, pretty certain the petrodollar will go away. And at this point, the value of the currency, the American currency, the US dollar, is going to take a drastic dive. And it'll probably be the death of the dollar. Then what? So because they know this and have known it, this could be the point at which they have planned as a fallback to where we're going to get the Great Reset. Okay. On a foreign note, I want to mention Israel and Ukraine. I mentioned before on maybe on YouTube, or it was on our website in our newsletter. I do believe there's going to come a day sooner than later that we are probably going to witness the nation of Israel voluntarily disarming. Global popular opinion towards Israel is very negative. You can believe every which way you want to believe on it, but the globe is against Israel. All right, and do not be surprised if in the very near future that you see the Israeli Prime Minister ousted and possibly walked away in cuffs and being charged with war crimes. Okay, Ukraine. This is a deep subject. I know myself and others I've heard continually ask the question, why are we bankrupting our own nation to pay for an endless war somewhere else? From everything that I'm understanding, Ukraine has to be financially propped up. Okay. In order to prevent Russia from gaining control. Okay. You may ask why. There's deep reasons beyond wheat and other things as to why Ukraine is important. But at all costs, the West must ensure that Russia does not get control of Ukraine. Okay. And because the dollars from the United States are becoming harder and harder to get to fund Ukraine. Example, we just approved and provided $60 billion to Ukraine in the last month, and Ukraine is already saying they're broke and they need more money. So the European Union recognizes that Ukraine must be propped up financially. Macron has built, by some opinion, or is building an additional 800,000 person military to add to their existing military. And the 800,000 number is to, if needed, go into Ukraine to fight Russia. Macron is also, from France, is also discussing sending tactical nukes across the European theater. And Ukraine And if you know world history, to see Macron step up um, as a leader for Europe is kind of shocking. Okay, France, not America. Folks are not looking towards America for leadership um, any longer because of positions, past history, and waffling. So I personally thought I never thought I would see a day that I would say that France was possibly becoming a leader of Europe. So with all that said, um, I think that we all have to evaluate where we stand and where we're at right now. Okay, here in America, we got churches that are not preaching scripture and they're promoting sword swallowing male strippers into conferences and conventions. You got public schools allowing demonic dress figures to read to our children. We've had the feminization of males um, over the last years. We have a depleted military. We have a bankrupt government. We have an out of control immigration system that is crashing, uh, adding to the crashing of our economy, our healthcare, adding to crime and more. We got parents and grandparents taking up for the individuals and making excuses for these individuals who are um, part of the W movement, if you will. And I have to say that you are part of the problem. If we don't stand up and rebuke the wrongs taking place, then that makes us equally part of the problem, right? And individuals who say they are preparing, and they may be to some minimal degree with limitations for numerous reasons. But at this point in the journey, someone saying, I'm gonna, I can't, I plan to, I'm thinking about, you may as well quit preparing. All right. Um, if you can sit and tell someone everything that's going on in the world and then respond with, I'm gonna, I can't, I plan to, and I'm thinking about it, uh, you're your own worst enemy. Okay. Um, so don't complain when someone else eats your last meal if you knew and didn't prepare for tomorrow. It's that simple. Um, that's what it's going to come down to. Okay. How you ride it into the storm is your business, your time to prepare for what is here is about up. And there's really no more room for excuses. And soon your worthless cash, restricting laws, crime, and controlled movement will leave you home with what you have available. It's not just going to be a question of what's on the shelves in the store that's available to you. It's going to be the restrictions and things put in place around you that's going to limit you being able to hop in your ride and go to the store and buy your Twinkies and bonbons. Okay? If you can't see that coming, I don't know what to tell you. Focus, focus, focus. Stop making excuses and blaming everything on something else. You are the problem. You are the problem with all the information, contacts, data points, and open source information I'm seeing. Um, and if that hurts your feelings, I'm just being truthful with you. with all this said, about a month ago, I suggested for those that are taking part and are knowledgeable of the alerting system, I had suggested you go to a soft amber um, in your area. I would recommend you keep it at amber and maybe even increase it just a little bit. Okay, we're living in the best days that we will experience going forward right now. It is not going to get any better. Sad to bring that news. And I know I have folks who are close to me. I have folks that I work with, that I'm around. Um, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with having hope. But if you're putting your survival in the hands of others to fix the problem, then it's a failing wish. Okay, and um, the best thing that I can say to you right now is you need to, if you are a person of faith or not, you need to draw your faith closer to you, and you need to make daily efforts to grow closer to God. And if you're a non faith person, you seriously need to consider it. All right. Again, that's a personal choice. And if it's a choice you would like to make or have questions about, you can email me at preparedness101 at protonmail.com to point you in the right direction. But it is something for you and your children, if you have children or grandchildren, that you seriously need to give some priority thought to. Okay. I don't mean to sound like Debbie Downer, uh, and I hope you don't take it as this information as being Debbie Downer, because if you've been paying attention, if you really reach into your heart, you know what I'm telling you is the truth. You just don't want to face it. Okay? But when you have mainstream voices who are now talking about the same things that we've been seeing for months and years, who are telling you if there is an upcoming election in November, you need to vote as early as possible because they believe there's a chance the government may cause an event to stop voting on election day. You really need to heed and take note. Okay. More and more voices that have large platforms are trying to speak out, though much of their platform is restricted and controlled. You need to read between the lines. All right. You need to live your life. You don't need to be depressed, but you really need to pay attention to what's going on around you. Okay? Curling up in a ball in the corner is only going to hurt you more. Right? So pull up your spenders and get with it. Just because it's raining, it doesn't mean you can't go out and plant your garden. Right? Don't be your worst problem. So with that, this video ran a little long. My apologies, but I needed to get this information out before I head back out on the road again Monday. If you have any questions, please reach out. Keep doing, for those who are preparing, do the best that you can. Keep it up. Don't let up. If you need help, ask again. And keep on keeping on. So if you like this video, hit like, and share it with someone who may still be wading through the clouds. Um, and hope that it does them some good. So stay safe. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the rain if you're in the east and the southeast. Rain is good. We like rain. So does the garden. So do something good for yourself today. And till next time, be blessed and don't forget to give thanks. Bravo Echo out.